Today and Across the Fence, it's our annual 4-H Fashion Review. We'll meet young ladies from around the state who've designed and created their own clothing. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. Throughout the year, we feature members of the UVM Extension 4-H program. It's great to see the wide range of projects and programs that the kids are involved in, including areas like science, community service, and leadership. Well, now the young women that you'll meet in just a moment have applied a number of skills to sew their own clothes. First, let me introduce Rita Charlton. Rita is a longtime 4-H educator, and over the years, she's worked with hundreds of young Vermonters in sewing and clothing design. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about the women that we're going to meet today.
We have young ladies from all over the state of Vermont, as you mentioned. We have Orange County, Chittenden County, Rutland County. These are counties where the sewing program is still a very strong project area. And I noticed you mentioned science as one of the 4-H mission mandates. And people may not think of sewing as a science project, but when you start to look at the particulars that are involved, it really is. They're learning how to use patterns, they're manipulating tools, there are a number of science skills that they're gaining. And all of these young women are involved in programs beyond the 4-H. They're involved in community service, which is a requirement for all the 4-H clubs, or an expectation. And they're all very actively involved in school programs.
So how did these young ladies get started? What did they have to do?
Most of them in the fall, when the 4-H year begins in the first part of October, will start thinking about their sewing project. They may start thinking about what they might like to make, what occasions are coming up where there would be an appropriate outfit that they could construct. And either late fall or maybe around the holidays, they'll start going to the fabric store, looking at patterns, looking at fabric. I did take a group shopping last year, which was really a lot of fun, to help them learn how to look for patterns and to read the pattern envelopes and to choose appropriate fabric. So we had a really nice trip that day.
What are some of the things that you have to consider when you're looking for a pattern and fabric? Because I don't know how to sew, so this is all new to me.
Well, and we've had some times over the years when the appropriate fabric wasn't chosen to go with an outfit. So there are usually instructions on the pattern envelope that will tell you what kinds of fabric will work, and that's something they need to look for. Also notions if they need a zipper, you know, what size they need, and just a lot of good information, and to make sure that they have chosen the right size pattern. That's one thing we do ahead of time, is do some measurements and make sure they're selecting a pattern that will be successful for them.
Mm-hmm. And so tell me a little bit about some of the outfits that we're going to see today. They're all individual. They're all very different.
Oh, absolutely. We have some very pretty little dresses this year. I've noticed a trend towards a lot of the young women lately that the sundresses, the cotton dresses do seem to be popular. I'm seeing more and more of them just for, you know, out when I'm out on, you know, just shopping or whatever. I see more of these kinds of outfits. We've got, as I say, they're all dresses, but there's a wide variety, each one of them reflecting the individual tastes of the girls that made them.
And so what happens now that the dresses are made? And it took a long time, really, for this process.
Oh, yes, as I say, most of them have started sewing either in the late fall or during the winter months. There are county and regional competitions that come first for them, and at that point they need to score a blue ribbon, and that qualifies them to move on to the State Day event, which is held in Barre in May. This is all the 4-Hers statewide come together to show off their projects over the year, and we do have a fashion review that's part of that State Day event. And from there, they go to Eastern States Exposition, which is in Massachusetts, and is a great learning experience for these girls.
Will they be modeling?
They will be modeling. They will be putting on a fashion show at Eastern States. They will be one of the stage programs that have been selected to go down.
Why is that important?
Well, there are a lot of skills that people don't always think about for the modeling. Actually, Fashion Review is a separate 4-H project, which not everyone realizes. But in that project, they are learning self-confidence, how to put themselves out in front of an audience. In some cases, we always have narrators, so they will be learning public speaking skills. There's just a lot of other things that go along with being able to model.
So this is more than just sewing a dress.
Absolutely.
All right, well, let's get started. Our first model this afternoon, and sewer we should mention, is Jonna Grenier, a member of the Benson Bay Buddies 4-H Club, and this year she made a black and red dress. So tell me a little bit about the dress itself.
Jonna's dress, and we found this with a number of the outfits this year, was that we had some fitting problems. But Jonna was able to solve that problem with some help. Some special skills that Jonna learned this year was how to make pleats. That was something she had never done before. And another piece that she found complicated with this outfit were set-in side pockets. They're actually invisible as you look at the outfit, but they are there in the dress, and to get those so they worked out right was a bit of a challenge for Jonna.
So Jonna, tell me a little bit about making this dress. We mentioned the pleats. Why was that difficult to do?
You had to sew them in a couple different spots. You had to like sew down, and then you had to sew all the way across.
And why did you pick this pattern?
I just thought it would look cool, and I needed a dress for my 8th grade graduation, so.
Nice. And so tell me a little about the pockets too, because that's a really handy feature to have in a dress.
They were pretty challenging to put in, but I think they turned out really good.
And tell me a little bit about the fabric that you picked out, why the colors and so forth.
I really like red, so I chose red, and then I wanted a little separation in between the two reds, so I chose black.
And was that hard to get that in just the right place, the black?
Yeah, I had to try a couple different times.
And tell me a little bit about the neckline too.
It's all gathered in different places, so we had to sew it.
And how long did it take you to make this dress?
Like a couple months.
Wow. And so what's been the reaction?
I wore it to my 8th grade graduation, and everybody liked it, so.
And were people surprised to hear that you made your dress? Well, that's good for you. That's really wonderful. I want to thank you so much. Rita, who do we have next?
Next up, we have Hilary Dubois. She's a member of the Lucky Clovers 4-H Club in Benson. And this year, she's made a pink floral sundress.
It's very pretty. Hilary, can you just turn around for us so we can see that? And so I noticed that that's a pretty full skirt. Is that problematic?
Did you have trouble with the gathers on that and getting it on the waist?
A little bit, but I got through it.
And it's very fitted too. I noticed there are darts and so forth, which
Yes.
I would imagine be a challenge as well.
Yes. Hilary's another one that had some fitting issues, but again, we were able to solve them.
Okay, terrific. Thank you, Hilary. Okay, next we have Sally Matson. Sally is a member of the Sheer Fun 4-H Club. Her work was on this fitted linen dress, which is beautifully fit, but I imagine that would be a little challenging as well.
Again, yes, I know Sally was trying to get a good fit, and I think she succeeded. And also a feature of Sally's dress is the color blocking.
Yes, I noticed that.
And this is something that's popular at the time, and you see quite a bit of it if you look at
Could you
fashion
turn around
magazines.
for us?
Sure.
There. That's beautiful. And so why would that be sort of a challenge?
Well, she's got a lot of little pieces there to fit together and to make sure they all line up. So I think she's done a very good job, and it's a very pretty little dress.
And tell me a little bit about the fabric itself. Is that a difficult
That's
fabric?
a linen. That probably isn't quite as difficult as some of the fabrics, but linen, I'm not sure about hers, but linen can be a problem with wrinkling and getting it pressed so that it comes out just right.
All right, well, Sally, thank you. Thank you. All right, next is our 4-H'er Dolly Wing.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about Dolly.
Let's see. Dolly wanted to make a dress for her 8th grade graduation this year. And Dolly's challenge was putting in a zipper for the first time. She has never done that before. And Dolly's skirt has a petal hem. And this actually worked out better than we thought it might. There was an option of just making a straight hem, but Dolly wanted to challenge herself by attempting to put that petal hem in. And
Would you turn around for us, Dolly, just so that we can see how it works? I thought that was beautiful.
It really came out very nice.
I'm impressed. Nice job, Dolly. Next, we have Raven Collette, who is a member of the Benson Busy Buddies 4-H Club. This year, she made a suede cloth V-neck jumper.
And this was a challenge as far as the fabric went. We found that this was difficult to work with. It's a heavier, and it's almost needs to be treated like a like a suede or like a leather. So that requires some different techniques as far as using the sewing machine and needles and all kinds of considerations to get it to come out right.
And could you turn around for us too so we can see the back of it as well? That's a very unusual hemline.
It's an asymmetrical hemline, and actually you see quite a bit of that in fashion these days. You see skirts with that kind of ragged edge, you know, and that's something that the kids seem to like. And Raven likes kind of the punk look, and this suits what she wanted to do for herself.
Thank you, Raven. That's wonderful. Who's our next model? We have Eva. Eva's a member of the Sheer Fun 4-H Club. This year she made a strapless flower-inspired dress. Eva, tell me a little bit about why you chose this pattern.
I chose this pattern because I was really interested in working with a peplum, which is what you see here. It makes kind of the flower look, and it looks interesting. Also, it has a little bit of gathering on the side, and I thought that would be something really nice to work with because I'd never really done gathering before.
What was the hardest part of putting the dress together?
I have to say it was probably just pinning everything together in like the final stages. I got really frustrated because it was really difficult, and yeah, it was really just putting it together at the end.
A nice challenge for you, but it came out beautifully.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, we have Riley Janeway. Riley's project is a dark purple casual dress. Tell me a little bit about this design.
This one has a lot of pleating in it. Riley, if you want to turn, please. Yes, she's got gathers in the back and a little bow there.
Yeah, very pretty.
And again, a fabric that isn't too difficult to work with, a little heavy, so it made to get those gathers so that they laid nicely was, I suspect, was a challenge.
And there's the top part, the bodice part is really unusual as well, too.
Yes.
A lot of different sewing techniques
there's some different techniques there. It's kind of an unusual seam, the way it's put together. There's a band around the midriff.
And an invisible zipper, too.
Yes, and this one has an invisible zipper, and I understand that was a bit of a challenge for Riley.
Well, thank you, Riley. That's terrific. It's a beautiful color. Okay, we have another member of the Benson Busy Buddies Club. This is Samantha Massey, and it's an orange and camo bubble dress.
Yes, yes. Samantha is really fond of camo. Actually, her outfit last year was camo, and her band, her midriff band, is fabric from her last year's project. I know she did try to find something that would match up and couldn't find anything in the store, and finally decided to go back and take one of the little leftover pieces from her other outfit.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much. Next up, we want to welcome Morgan Conant. Morgan is a member of the Middle Branch 4-H Club, and this year she made a blue dress with a sheer overlay.
And Morgan's overlay is really the outstanding piece on this. It really made sparkles. It really adds to the outfit.
Yeah, it's a great.
She's got a lot of work in the bodice with a lot of piecing and fitting to make that all come out the way it did. I think it looks very nice on you.
Very challenging. I love that. That's a great idea. Okay, now our final model this afternoon is Cheyenne Miller, also a member of the Middle Branch 4-H Club, and this year she made a fun and pretty dress.
Very pretty, and it's a sheer fabric, so it's fully lined. And that was a challenge for Morgan to get that, to work with that fabric. I'm sure it was probably slippery and hard to catch up with. She's got some ruffles on the bodice, which were a challenge for her.
Yeah, that really came out beautifully.
Yes, it fits very nice and it looks very nice.
Would you just turn around for us once? Lovely. Thank you so much.
Yes.
All right. Well, that's wonderful. Tell me a little bit about where the ladies will go from here.
From here, they're going to go on to Eastern States Exposition. They will be down there modeling on Sunday and Monday in September, the opening weekend of Eastern States. They're going to have a pretty busy schedule. I know sometimes when we ask them to be excused from the schools, it's, oh, they're going to go to the fair, but...
no, they'll be working.
They will be working. They have set times when they need to perform, and they are expected to be on stage and ready to go at their time. They also do something called mannequin modeling, which is they're positioned in different places throughout the building where the stage area is. and they pose like a mannequin, and they are expected to hold that pose and not blink if the audience is trying to distract them, which they will do.
Well, we should mention, for more information on the 4-H sewing program or any other 4-H program, you can call the state 4-H office at the toll-free number on your screen. That's 1-800-571-0668. Again, that's 1-800-571-0668. You can also find more information online at the UVM Extension website. And I want to thank Rita and all of the young ladies today for coming in and showing us their fashions. It obviously represents a lot of hard work, and they're going to be great representatives of Vermont at Eastern States. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you so much for coming in. That's our program for today. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.
For a video copy of today's program, call toll-free 1-888-ATF-3430. Across the Fence is brought to you as a public service by University of Vermont Extension and WCAX-TV.